truth about Uganda's First Lady has been revealed.
Janet afiridde mu nnyonyi.
NRM esaba mutegeeze bonna bekikwatako abanene mu NRM NRM mwenna mu ggwanga.
An update about Museveni and his wife Gen.Museveni, who are absent from Uganda. At this point, right now, as I speak, Janet is no longer with us. Gen.Museveni passed. She passed away a few days ago, but they will not disclose that she's no longer with us. Of course, understandably, because of how they want to continue looking powerful or in control of Uganda. But deep security alerts within them states that Gen.Museveni is no longer with us. She's deceased. As for Museveni himself, as you know, he's absent. He has not been around during Easter. He usually made a live broadcast or a message to Ugandans about Easter and all that. But what we saw was a document that, says he said this or that about Easter. We usually saw Gen.Museveni and Museveni himself come out on Easter, like every nation, In the United States, we had President Trump give us an Easter message, as expected of every nation, but they're both not well. Well, one of them is not well, and the other one is not with us. It is very, very difficult to say, rest in peace, when we have a person or people who have lived a life dependent on others losing their lives based on their orders and their existence. I couldn't remember a time when Museveni was good news for Uganda. For a short period of time, he convinced, especially the people who ushered him in, that he was a good person. He was coming to fight for Ugandans, fight for their lives, change of government, change of leadership, everything that we wanted to hear, because desperate times were the times. But we can't say the same now, because the characteristic of Museveni's government since his existence, since his coming to Uganda in the 1980s, has been embellished with people losing their lives. The Leero, millions of people were killed in Leero. During his time, 1986, Acholi started suffering from the LRA war, which lasted 20 years. There came other massacres. Kasese recently, a few years ago, that existed. Museveni is still in power. Besides that, come down to our people in the community, people who we know very well, people in the opposition just disappearing, leaders who obviously are, powerful, who we think are good successes, people who are performing and leading the communities or taking up positions in the government. Anybody who is a threat to Museveni and his family, they have done away with. Susan Magala, for example, who Gen.Museveni actually ordered her murder. She was existing as a Ugandan of her own will. But because she did something that they didn't like, they wanted to take over her father's farm. They wanted to do this and that. People have died. So many people have lost their lives. They've lost their livelihood. They've lost, dignity. You can't point to a wealthy person who has remained wealthy for many years. Non-government organizations, their livelihood is through the funding to serve Ugandans. But even then, they're stifled. People like Susan Birete, a very, very important person in the non-governmental organizations that give services to Ugandans, arrested, put in prison, really for no crime that she's committed, but just because she's doing what she is supposed to do. And because what she does is something that they don't agree with or don't believe, they ended up arresting her and accusing her of crimes that are, trumped up. They don't make any sense at all. Things like that. Talk about an opposition leader that like His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, going through an election. Museveni announces an election, but of course, not satisfactory to his taste, because there's truly an opposition that he has no control over. That person then has to be on the run. That person then has to, good evening, Agnes. That person then has to be prosecuted. You know, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's wife has to be mishandled. His children, you know, they don't have a continuous, nobody's promised tomorrow in Uganda as long as these people are here. For a time period that we've reached, you know, being right is wrong. If you are on the side of the people, if you are concerned about well-being of Ugandans, you are a criminal to Museveni and his family. If you are doing things that they don't support, you know, they make laws against you. Right now, every law that has been created in Uganda has been against opposition, especially against His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the new people, and anybody who does not agree with Museveni's heinous way of ruling Uganda. You know, anybody on that side is a criminal. People like Waiso Mufombiro, people like Eddie Mutwe. Eddie Mutwe has never run for office. He's not even interested. But because he has a good friend called His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, that's enough crime to get Eddie Mutwe away from the arrested, beaten to death, near death, and, you know, put away without any treatment or anything like that. People survive in Uganda by the grace of God, not because they are getting or living the life that they should be living. Talk about wealthy people. Today they're alive, tomorrow they're gone. And when they're gone, their businesses are gone. All of a sudden, all real estate is gone. Everything that they own, you know, talk about anybody who leaves office, members of parliament. When they leave office, you know, I can speak because I come from a family of that sort. They leave parliament, few years down the road, they have nothing. Nothing. If you have anything, you are tied up into loans that are given to you by the Museveni people. So it's hard to say that Ugandans will not celebrate the passing of both these people, okay? And hope for more. Unfortunately, that is where life has gotten us. It is sad, but what can you do? As a human being, we feel hurt, we feel pleasure, we feel all these things. But most Ugandans, 80% of Ugandans, feel sadness. They're broken. They have nothing, a lot of lack everywhere. And I can tell you that, you know, knowing both sides of the aisle, I have very good friends who are well-to-do. And I have several friends who don't have much, okay? And I can tell you that I get a lot of messages in my inboxes. The people who want me to stop speaking are the people who are well-to-do, people whose children's future are planned for, people who are the people in parliament, the people in power, the people in businesses, and all these types of things. And then there comes the people who say, you know, thank you so much for speaking. Here's my experience. Here's my experience. And most of what they've gone through or know somebody going through are really, really, really painful, sad, despicable circumstances. You know, and people like those, as much as they feel like the status quo should continue because they're fine, okay, I despise very much, because even if you have what you have today, you built a huge fence around your home to protect yourselves from the people who you feel that do not deserve life, or do not deserve people like me to speak with or speak about. You know, the difference here is in them being in line, which they don't see at the moment, but they're in line to lose everything they have, including their life. You know, I'm here today, and the security alerts and things that I bring up, these are things that are, some of these people who want me to get off, not speak or stop speaking, are in target by this same government. And sometimes we have to rescue them by what we have to tell them to keep them at bay or safe. So I'm requesting officially here that if you feel that what I say or how I speak is not worth it, is not great, I'm asking you to please just, you know, let me be. Don't follow my page. Just don't disregard, okay? Because what I do here is for the real Ugandan there who is waking up uncertain about tomorrow, wondering if tomorrow will be another day, whether they will live or not. You know, the people in prisons, the supporters, the political prisoners in prison, the lady who passed away, who was in a video yesterday, unfortunately, she tells a story about the time after the election, around the election time when she was abducted, taken away, injected with a lot of chemicals or whatever, and she ended up dying under the circumstances of what the people like the Musevenis feel like it should be, how other Ugandans live. So it is unfortunate that we have to celebrate death because these people do not deserve to live. So in any case, Gen.Museveni, the wife of the dictator Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is gone. She passed away when she was taken out from her home after the fall. She went on life support for a few days, but it is 100% confirmed that she's gone. Museveni himself is critical because when he was taken for treatment or surgery, a procedure that happened a few days ago, he has suffered a stroke. The problem with the Museveni people is that he has lied about his age for so many years. Anybody who knows the medical field you know that truth is power to you. If you lie, only you suffer. So he's lied about his age. He says he's about 80 something, but he's well over 100 years old. So a surgery must have been performed on an 80-year-old body, or suspiciously an 80-year-old body, as he says. However, because of the nature of the procedure and what was done, it is said that he suffered a stroke during the procedure that has caused him to be unable to speak. If he had said his age, it wouldn't have been recommended that he gets the surgery. But like I said, the way they think, the way they feel like they can control everything, he lied about his age, ended up getting the surgery, and now he won't wake up or be normal. So essentially, Uganda has no president or first lady. The country at this moment is being run by Salim Saleh, who is his brother, his son, Gen.Muhoozi, KK, who is the Attorney General, and his son-in-law, the husband of one of the daughters, the ones who own the legal office together. You know who it is. Kaihura is one of them. Mwesigwa is one of them. The other Muhoozi is one of them. So with that set of people, Damulira is one of them, the mafias who are running Uganda at the moment. We don't have a president. We don't have a first lady. First lady is gone. The plans about the first lady is that they fear to disclose the fact that she's gone because they are afraid of Uganda celebrating. They are afraid about the circumstances surrounding the swearing-in ceremony because they expect Museveni to swear in. However, he has to look right and feel right. And so with the desperation of him possibly not making it from this stroke, they think that they may not have a president to actually swear in at that moment. So with Janet passing, according to her will or her last testimony of life, she did not want to be buried in Uganda because she knows that they have left a horrible taste in Ugandans, that they feel like if she's buried in Uganda, these are her thoughts when she was still alive, that when they no longer have power in Uganda, that she'll be exhumed and burned or killed, or burned or destroyed for animals to eat or whatever, because they know what they've done to the people of Uganda. So she has requested that she either be buried in Tanzania, where Museveni has built a whole city of his own in that country, because he also runs Tanzania through the President Suluhu. Okay? So with that said, other suggestions are that they bury her or bury something in Uganda and call that Janet's grave, so that if things go well, she will still be recognized as the former First Lady and a place of burial so it's respected and honored. Most of what they seek is recognition, legitimacy, honor, but they don't give it back. Which means that with all of that and the way they treat people, it is likely that Janet will be buried in Tanzania. However, the plans are to keep her in Rwanda under refrigeration for a period of time until they are able to bring her around June after supposed swearing in, which is not going to happen because now Museveni is also under the weather. The doctors have advised that Museveni not be informed about Janet's passing, neither be informed about the conditions of the country. So with that, they're illegally running operations, Salim Saleh and Muhoozi, illegally running operations as unofficial president and son or whatever the case might be.
Janet ekiramu kye kigamba tebamuziikanga mu Uganda. Janet ekiramu kye kigamba tebamuziikanga mu Uganda. Kakati bwe batamuziika mu Uganda, problemu ebeerezze bata kati boogera ku kuziika ne ku ddaame lye. Balina okulisaamu ekitiibwa tebamuziika mu Uganda. Nti kubanga yabagamba bannayuganda ekiseera kigenda kutuuka nga tetubalinako control, bagenda kutusimulayo batwoke. Bakimanyi nti ekiseera kigenda kutuuka. Yagamba ekiseera kigenda kutuuka nga siffe tubalina mu control, bagenda kutusimulayo batwoke, balina obusungu bungi. Nze omulambo gwange temuguziikanga mu Uganda. Omulambo gwa Janet bagenda gutereka mu firiji e Rwanda. Omulambo nkiddamu, omulambo gwa Janet gwakuteekebwa mu firiji e Rwanda paka gwa mukaaga. Janet bagenda kumubika gwa mukaaga. Janet bagenda kumubika gwa mukaaga bagambe nti afudde, kumbe yafa. Ne wenjogeera wano Janet yafa. Wulira. Yagamba tebamuziikanga mu Uganda. Kati bagamba bwe batamuziika mu Uganda, abali bawo mu government egenda debate egenda kuzuukira eri ey'okubanga si bannayuganda. Abali bawo bajja kuba bawedde, bajja kuba bagudde. Then ensi yonna ejja basituukirako mufuga mutya eggwanga nga temuli bannansi baamu. Bwe baguziikamu yagaana tu bajja kugusimulayo. Muwulire? Kakati ne batuula ne bateesa aziikibwewa. Ensi ziri 3: Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania. Ku faamu ya Museveni eri gye nabagamba gye mwagugolingako gye neerabidde erinnya. Eri ku kyalo kya Museveni awali faamu ennene gye nabagamba abantu ne bakakasa nti enteeze yatandika okuzita. Museveni abadde atwala enteeze ng'azijja mu Uganda ekisozi. Mbadde mbibagamba nga mugamba nnimba. Ng'awulira akooye. Janet ne basalawo ne bagamba agenda kuziikibwa mu kyama. Mu kyama nnyo agenda kuziikibwa e Tanzania ku faamu ya Museveni. Kati bamubike mu gw'omukaaga bwe babanga bamaze oba okwewamba oba okulayira ne bagiragiraawo. Kakati ekintu ekirala ekiriwo bali mu kukolayo ekibumbe, bagambye bafuneyo ekibumbe ekirungi bakibumbe nga ye Janet. Bakiteeke mu keesi bwe banaabanga balayira mu gw'omukaaga oba nga bamaze wonna wo banaamubikira baleete ekibumbe ekyo. Kyo bakiziike mu Uganda. Ensi ekole byekola, abasanyuka basanyuke, abamu boogera boogere, naye ekibumbe bakiziike mu Uganda. Oba ekkeesi enjereere bagiziike mu Uganda. So abantu bwe balisimulayo baligenda okukisimulayo kukuba nga bbumba lyeriyiika wali. Museveni Janet agenda kuziikibwa mu kyama e Tanzania ku faamu ya Museveni. Baziikewo kintu kirala. Oba nkobe oba nnyana yante waliwo omwami omukulu ali related ku Janet yagambye wano baziikewo ekintu ekirala oba ennyana y'ente oba kyoba ekintu kyonna ne bagamba bateekemu ssente bagende mu China. Bagambye China, Hong Kong, newa mbwe wali ati omulungi basobola okubumba ekintu ekifaananira ddala omuntu kubanga abantu baba balina okukubako eriiso baba balina bwaba kamera bano ab'ebyobufuzi bajja kutunuzaamu simanyi omulambo gwe bannange kati baagala babumbeyo ekintu ekifaanana Janet yennyini bagambe nti oyo ye Janet aziikiddwa mu Uganda naye ng'omulambo gwe bagutadde wa. Kati nze mbuuza obuugi obwo bunaawoma mukakasa obuugi tebugenda kuwooma. Baani abanywa obwasoya? Baani abaagala obwasoya obusiikeko nga soya basooka kumusiikasiikako bwa bulawuni namwe
yes bingi ebigenda mu maaso munda mu ggwanga Uganda byolina okubeera ng'omanya naddala gwe Munnayuganda. Kakati Gen. Museveni obulamu bwe akyagenda maaso n'okubeera nga alwanagana nabwo oba oliawo nga n'abamu bavuddeyo ddala ne batandika okubeera nga bawanuuza nti omukyalo ono yandibanga yafa dda. Kyokka ng'ate ne Gen.Museveni tewabulwa omusajja omukadde w'enkofiira byasiba mbu bye bikutuka. Kakati ono naye obulamu bwe buli mu lusubo oluvannyuma lw'okubeera nga endwadde eziwerako ono zizze nga zimubala embiriizi ng'asimattuka. Kati kigambibwa nti ono naye essaawa yonna ebiyinza okubeera nga biva ku bulamu bwe ne lipooti eyinza okuva mu basawo twandiraba ku maziga twandiraba ku biboobe munda mu State House naddala entebe erwakitula ssaako n'ekisozi. Kakati mukwano gwange kannyongera okubeera nga nkutegeeza nti guno omukutu gwa muntu wa wansi gwa nkyukakyuka gulwanirira ddembe lya Munnayuganda era mukutu mupya ddala. Twetaaga basubscribers 50 bwegatti gokka tusobole okubeera nga tutandika okukola live n'okwongera okuweereza eggwanga nga bwe twakolanga. Jjukira nti emikutu gyaffe giri twagenda okubeera nga tuva mu kalulu ng'abasajja bagiwaabidde emikutu ne bagijjako emikutu ne bagisalako. Kaakati twasalawo okubeera nga tukola emikutu emipya kwe mugenda okubeera nga mufunira obubaka obugenda mu maaso naddala ku nsonga za nnyaffe Uganda. Kakati mukwano gwange gwe aliyo nga tonakubeera ng'otugoberera nkusaba otugoberere okone nekkadde olayikinge osheyalinge ate na buli omu omutegeeze nti omugezi yadde eno omukutu gwa Yugi 24 live tekamu Yugi 24 live. Kaakati n'otugoberere ensonga zonna tugenda kutandika mu butongole okubeera nga mukwano gwange tuzisunsula nga tuzitangaaza nga tuzikuba mu ttooki sako okubeera nga tuzitaguula nga bwe tuzze nga tukola ebbanga lyonna okuva mu 2019 okutuuka olunaku olwaleero tetuvanga ku nsonga ya nsi yaffe paka ng'efunye obuweerero. Kale no tugoberere subscribinga ate sharinga link buli Munnayuganda asobole okubeera nga ategeera omukutu gwaffe guno omupya kwe tugenda okusinziira okuweereza ensi.